What's going on, y'all? It's your boys, Georgia Bros 5. We coming to you live with another recording, back again for the very first time. It's your boy, Channel D, aka Mr. I watched too much wrestling growing up, man. God dang. And I'm here with my brothers, as God is willing. Please introduce yourselves.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Joshine.
Hey, y'all, what up, man? It's Darius.
And in this edition of our Friday podcast, we are actually going to rank, I guess I should say, rank the actors that portray Spider-Man in the live-action films. So, of course, as you know, we're talking about Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3, who was portrayed by uh, Tobey Maguire. Talking about the Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, who was portrayed by Andrew Garfield. And we're talking about Spider-Man Homecoming and Spider-Man Far From Home, who was portrayed by Tom Holland. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it, man. It should be pretty easy. It's only three different people to rank, but of course, opinions and feelings may get hurt. But as always, this is only our opinion, so don't skewer us for it. And at the end of the day, man, tune in and enjoy. So, oh, obviously, spoilers, because duh.
Factual.
Movies are old.
So, my bottom spot for uh, these three actors, for me personally, man, it's gonna go to Tom Holland.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Oh, wow. I don't.
Hmm.
Mm,
Hey,
My bottom
it had to be
spot.
one of us, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
my bottom spot goes to Andrew Garfield.
Okay, I can
Hmm.
understand that.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm. You want to explain why?
Sure. So, Andrew Garfield, you know, I I felt he was a good Spider-Man. You know, confidence levels, acrobatic abilities, catchy one-liners, all that good stuff. He had the swagger to be, an amazing Spider-Man. Doo-doo-doo.
Oh my God,
But
Let's cut it.
I,
Let's cut it.
I,
that's just
but
good.
I felt his Peter Parker was lacking, I guess. He didn't really give me the feel of any Peter Parker that I was used to, whether that be from comics, any of the animated series. Is he I don't know. He didn't give me that, you know, nerd ended up with powers and now he's doing great things to save people kind of vibes. I never really felt that from him. So basically, the reason I have him on the bottom, uh, great Spider-Man, so Peter Parker. My number one pick would have to have more of the whole package.
Okay, Josh, you want to
I
elaborate
feel
on
that.
Tom Holland?
I feel that. Um, I kind of want to. Well, yeah. I can talk about Tom Holland. Um, yeah, I feel like his Spider-Man is a little underdeveloped. I feel like I know like he's supposed to be a kid, but and it is in the MCU, so I guess I can't really you know blame that Spider-Man for not being up on par to where I think he should have been. I feel like he should have been a little more mature, um,
Mm-hmm.
just in the where he was supposed to be and like how they did end up portraying him in the movies. I think he was a really good Peter Parker. Um, I just think that his Spider-Man was really immature. Like he would make decisions and he just didn't have like enough consequence to actually learn and develop from those mistakes that he would make. And I just didn't really see him, you know, developing into the Spider-Man that I think he should have been
Mm, okay,
playing on the level
right.
that he was on.
I see that, this is the one who they chose to, hey, you come help us save the world, save the save the universe.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
Right,
exactly.
you
really.
help us do all of this stuff. So yeah, you would definitely think that person needs to be on a much higher, like mental focus level to perform, with these guys doing that kind of test. So I can see that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Right. The reason that Tom Holland is in my bottom spot is usually when I talk to people about the ranking the three actors that portray Spider-Man, I usually give them a rating, a numbered rating between 1 and 10 for the portrayal of Spider-Man and Peter Parker. For me, historically, I've given Tom Holland an 8 for Spider-Man and an 8 for Peter Parker. But honestly, after watching Far From Home, I had to knock it down. I would give his portrayal of Peter Parker a 7 and his portrayal of Spider-Man a 6. I say that because, don't get me twisted, I will always go out to the theaters and watch an MCU Spider-Man movie. Always. I watch Tom Holland do a third one, a fourth one, a fifth one because I love Spider-Man. It's one of my favorite Marvel characters, period. I will always go out and support the movie and watch it. But I feel like his portrayal of the character is very lacking, and it's not due in part to his acting ability. I really want to stress that. Every time someone hears me say they think I'm calling him a terrible actor. I'm not. I want to say, to me personally, I don't like the writing. They write him as a terrible character, and he portrays it because that's what his job as an actor is to do, to portray what the director has laid out, and I understand that. I feel like his portrayal of Spider-Man. Actually, I'm gonna start with Peter Parker. For Peter Parker, is he does well. He does well enough. He's his kid in high school. He's awkward around girls. He's good friends with his best friend. He almost through high school. He's got these funny quips and stuff. He's a likable character. He's definitely a person that you can see yourself gravitating towards when you're watching the film. His portrayal of Spider-Man though is what gets me because if you watch Homecoming, you watch Far From Home, it just feels like he's just Iron Man Jr. It doesn't feel like his own character. And of course, there's got to be time to develop that and flesh him out as a character. But I don't feel like it takes two movies to do that. I don't feel like it takes two movies for a character to become their own character. I don't feel like he's Spider Man. I feel like he's Iron Man Jr. From the moment he got the suit from Tony Stark, it just felt like he was just not his own real character. And
Yeah,
I don't know.
I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because
Having Jarvis in or Friday in your ear all the time, having the
mhm,
gadgets, having the display in your mask, you just sound like Iron Man, just a younger version of
mhm,
Iron Man. You don't seem. And then once he had the Iron Spider suit, oh my God, he was Spider-Man Junior 2.0. So I was just like, it's not like I'm watching a Spider-Man film. It's like I'm watching a film of a kid who's been given the gadgets he needs to succeed. Because once you take that suit off of him, he's just a kid with an ability to obviously still super strong, still very flexible, still very acrobatic, but it just leaves much to be desired as Spider-Man for me.
mhm. Yeah, and I don't think, like you said, I don't, that has nothing to do with his Spider-Man as a person. It was the writers when it comes down to it, because the time frame that they added him in the MCU, it's like, okay, like the world is ending, and soon the galaxy, and it's like, hey, you that spider dude, right? And he's like,
Right,
yeah, that's me. And then Iron Man's like, okay, we might need your help. And that's how they
right,
introduced him. They introduced him with Iron Man, and it's just like, why does it have to
hmm
be that? Like, I feel like he
right,
could have had his own movie, and then they could have
right,
incorporated him into,
right.
the
And
Avengers. It
yeah,
was
and
so rushed, I feel
I get
like.
the contractual stuff. I totally understand that, but it's kind of like, and then like I watched Far From Home, and I'm like, the writing, like, why would they write Spider-Man as a fucking idiot? They
Yeah.
wrote him like he's a clueless kid. Like, I don't want to get obviously into the movie itself. I want to say that for a later date, but just the
Hmm.
plot points and what they ruined him as a just
Yeah. It was
he's
just
my
him being
bottom.
like, oh, I made a mistake. Oh, I
Yeah,
made a mistake
yeah.
over and
Like
over again. And it's like he never learns from
The
it
character of
in every
Spider-Man
movie.
is built on consequence. He's built on responsibility, you know, and he has none in his movies. He
Yeah.
does stupid things and he suffers almost no consequences to his actions, and that's the part that just kills me for his movies.
Actual factual.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
What do
I
you
guess
got for your second?
moving on. To my number two. My number two is Andrew Garfield.
Mm,
That's my number
yeah,
two.
same.
AG. Feel you. Feel you.
Or
There's your number. Who's your
it
number
is. It's actually not Andrew Garfield, which is crazy if you can believe that. My number two.
You're trash.
My number two is Tom Holland.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
So you
I'm
being
with
the
that.
person with the different outlook, tell us about Tom Holland and why you chose him as the number two over Andrew Garfield.
You know what? I may be a little biased. I think I'll put this out here. I just
Okay.
don't really like Andrew Garfield. I don't
Okay.
like his. I don't like
As
his. I
as
don't
an
like.
actor or
I don't know.
as like
I don't like his face. It doesn't. I don't enjoy
he
watching
do
him
make
in
some weird faces in
films.
his movies, so I'll say
You
that.
know,
Okay.
but I just this is not a face I prefer to look at. Cool with looking at Tom's face. I'm cool with looking at Toby's face. Andrew, I'm not feeling it.
Trash.
But Tom Holland, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed. Heck, actually, can I say
Hey, break
that?
it down.
I think I may. And I mean, obviously, his are the newest out of everyone, so I guess it's not that far fetched. But
In the first in the
I,
MCU.
I think I enjoyed his movies more. Like, yeah, I think I've enjoyed his movies the most out of all the Spider-Mans. Just, just in watching pleasure, I guess.
They're great movies. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of,
Yeah,
lot
they're
of,
awesome
lot of
movies.
great stuff happens in them. You know, lots of cameos, lots of other people. The Spider-Man acrobatics are top notch. I enjoy him. I think he's funny. I think he has. Yeah, no, not even like. I loved that they decided to go with a young Spider-Man, just because the last two we've seen, they weren't really all that young. So this
Yeah.
one they actually intentionally tried to go with like the young Spider-Man. Like
Right.
when people see his face, it's like, oh crap, this is a kid. Like and they get freaked out. I like it. It gives a kind of whimsical feel to the movies.
Right.
And then it's kind of it kind of gives a little bit of a like anime vibe. Just based off of they'll have like a younger person, a kid. I'm explaining. They have a younger person or a kid, get some kind of abilities, train, do whatever, rise up, and end up beating adults and whatever, because that's the premise
Yeah.
of
Yeah. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
about every anime. Um, so
Right.
I did. I definitely enjoyed his movies a lot more than I did Garfield's, and I personally thought he did a good job of portraying uh, Peter Parker and um, Spider-Man from a kid perspective.
Mm, okay.
Word.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. I like that. I like that.
Same,
Josh, you want to
same.
elaborate on your choosing Andrew Garfield?
Man, unlike Darius, I like that man's face, man. Like,
Dang,
What?
interesting.
What is going
I
on?
like seeing him like as Spider-Man. Like, I thoroughly like enjoyed those movies, like from start to finish. Like, I like you said earlier, like I don't really want to get too
Mhm.
far into the details, but like the way that they just portrayed like the origin, like what happened and everything. I think they just did like a really good job, and him learning like his powers,
Yeah.
and what drives every Peter Parker to want to fight crime.
Right. Right. Right.
I think that sequence was just so good. And then when he the scene where he was like, shoot, dang. No, I don't want to talk
Was
about
it?
it. I'll
Was it
save
in?
that for later. But
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, I don't really want to get to like my reasons are really in depth. I don't want to. I'll save it for a little later.
Okay.
That's
I
cool.
don't want to spoil
Okay.
too much stuff
That's
about
all
the
good.
movie, but
Yeah. Yeah. So, my choosing of Andrew Garfield is my second spot. So, as I said before, I love Far From Home. I love Homecoming. They're great movies to me. They're just not um, great Spider-Man movies. They leave much to be desired. I feel like when I watched Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, I really enjoy them as movies. I feel like they got a lot of flack because one, they were Sony productions, they were not Marvel. Um, and this movie started after Marvel kicked off the MCU, so they kind of had a strike against them. And then obviously because it was the second coming of Spider-Man, they got a reboot, and it's not with Tobey Maguire. So obviously people are going to be like, oh my God, here we go again. But
Mhm.
I feel like the origin of it was a little bit different, and I like that. It wasn't like the same, exact origin as before. Uh, they went more into his parents, which is they didn't really do that in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's. I really like that. They kind of gave them a backstory, and I like it because you definitely felt the sense of responsibility and the sense of consequence in his movies. I feel like there's things that shaped him as a character. Me personally, if I had to number them, I would give him a 10 out of 10 for his portrayal of Spider-Man. I feel like the acrobatics, how he moved, how he fought, how he used his mind to actually understand his enemies and to uh, solve problems in a fight. I thought that was really, really good. His attitude, the way he does things, I feel like, man, he just really embodied that character of what I feel like a Spider-Man is, making jokes, still fighting, even in his
Mhm.
like his worst moments where like he's like defeated. Like it's just to me, it's like it's great. His portrayal of Peter Parker, it's good. I would give it like a 7 out of 10. It's not like I'm like I don't think it's greatest, but obviously speaking, I think he did a really good job for what he was given, but his portrayal of Spider-Man is what really gets me over. And the movies themselves and how they do things, it's just like I love it. I mean, you never see a movie like where someone's like losing their loved one in these typical superhero movies. It doesn't happen all that often. So for him to lose his loved one is really, or the girl he loves was really heart wrenching. I loved it, man. It's just good movie overall. I think it's a, I think it's great, man. But as you can see, we've all chosen Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland for our second and third spots. So that only leaves one person, man, to be at the top spot, man. And that's our man Tobey
Miles
Maguire.
Morales, Tobey
So
Maguire.
what?
Let's
Why?
Oh,
get
You didn't even
it.
say the actor's name. You just said Miles Morales.
Exactly.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we all collectively agree that Tobey Maguire is our number one portrayal of the Spider-Man Peter Parker characters, man. And I
yeah,
guess we'll
man.
go into a little bit about why. I mean, there's you went first every time, so I guess I'll leave you with the opening statements.
Open it up.
Oh man. Shoot, man. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
you want to
I wasn't old enough to buy movies. So I mean, I guess you don't have to be old enough to buy stuff. My parents bought them. My parents definitely bought the first Spider-Man. I've watched that movie many, many,
Mm,
many
mm,
times. Easily, I've
mm.
watched the first Spider-Man more than I've watched Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield put together
Put together. Yeah,
times three.
absolutely.
Like
Yep. Yep.
easily,
That's next on
Same.
this.
just
I
because
used to
that,
run through that
yes,
joint.
like
Mm.
just I still have that junk just plastered in my brain. Them starting off in that lab and that spider web and him trying to take a picture of freaking Mary Jane
Mary
and telling her
Jane.
how beautiful
Mhm.
she is and just all of that. Get bit, passing out,
All of
all
that.
of it.
Flash Gordon.
Yeah,
It
man.
was
And
it was
man,
great, man. It was
it
great.
was.
People try to downplay Toby now that a whole bunch of other movies have come out with better special effects and all this stuff,
Disrespecting that man.
and y'all can't disrespect the goat. Like like this, he started this thing off and he did a beautiful job.
Oh yeah.
Like I loved him as Spider Man. Like Darrell has mentioned, he likes seeing the work ethic and the trials they have to
Mhm.
go through while
Yeah.
Yes, and
perfecting their
he
Spider
went
Manness.
He
through
went
that
through
shit.
them.
He did, man. He did, man. I did. I loved watching it. That's and a lot of people's origin stories are like normally the trash movies, out of the bunch, but his was one that really was just great.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a
Bro.
lot. Like
They
the
established him
wrestling
so
scene,
well.
like the him, trying to figure out
Mm-hmm.
his powers and all this stuff, and the announcer just giving him a name, and he's like, "Oh, it's not my name." Human
Yes.
spider.
I'm the human. Yes. Nah, man, you Spider-Man.
Nah,
No,
stop that.
you ain't
That's
Spider-Man.
dumb. Like I loved it. You know, him learning about his sense, learning, you know, that he has these quicker reactions and he's stronger now, and just the build up as the movie went on was just greatly done. Like I thought Toby portrayed him just beautifully throughout all three movies. Given third movie, it had a couple awkward parts, but
Had some missteps.
I want to try to just attest that to the director and the producer,
Yeah, Sam Raimi
because
was slick on that one.
that's what actors do. They do what they're told, and he's like, "You sure you want
Right.
me to do this?" He's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah,
perfect."
do that. All right.
It ain't really hit right. The whole dancing in the black suit and awkwardly
Yeah.
pointing at people while they
You know,
think he looks
throwing in
dumb.
Green Goblin
I
and
don't
Sandman
is
and
yeah.
Venom in one movie. This was a lot.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was.
that's Hobgoblin, by the way.
Sorry, Hobgoblin, my bad.
Yep. It
Yeah,
was.
it's all good. It's all good.
It was a couple missteps, but all in
Yeah,
all,
they put
Tobey
so much in that
Maguire,
movie.
I thought he did great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Josh, you ready?
Toby Maguire definitely is like the standard for like having the perfect balance between like, you know, Spider-Man and Peter Parker for sure.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he is like out of the three. If I'm thinking of like the animated Spider-Man, because I want to say that's probably the first Spider-Man I was, you know, introduced to and like actually watched a lot of was you
Right.
know, the animated series of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is what I think fits that mold the best.
I can see that. Yeah, definitely. I can see
Yeah,
that.
for
See
sure.
that.
Like when it comes to his age, his build,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
Mhm.
All
just
of that.
and even him not being like as jokey while he's fighting. But
Mhm.
Yeah,
yeah,
like he has
definitely
a sense of humor, but he's not trying to Deadpool it.
right,
Yeah.
like the other two
Yeah.
do, which isn't bad. I enjoy that
Yeah.
that dialogue. I'm just saying, like when you compare it to the animated series, he definitely hits closer than the other two for sure.
Yeah. Not Tom. Tobey Maguire, my top spot. I feel like his Spider-Man leaves a little bit because I'm used to the joking and stuff, and I don't get much of that with him. But I still love his Spider-Man. His portrayal of Peter Parker is the best, without a doubt, the best. Um, there's no question in that junk. It goes to show like it's fun to watch a movie where the character is just like Thor, like you just know they're gonna win because they're just the strongest thing in the movie. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's always cool to watch a movie where someone just continues to steamroll everybody, you know what I'm saying? And at the end they get a little down and then they win the fight, whatever. But watching Spider-Man 2, watching Tobey Maguire portray a character who loses fight after fight after fight, runs into problem after problem after problem, it to me is just amazing how he continues to get up and continue to fight and shows you like to keep hope alive. His portrayal, I mean, the first, second, of course, like I said, the third movie, had some missteps, but movies one and two, man, that is how you establish a character and make you love them. Spider-Man 2 was one of the greatest superhero films. One of the greatest. It's probably gotta be like top 10. And it's a lot of films.
Top 10
7.
for sure.
Top 7.
Top 10 for sure.
Top 7. But yeah, that's how you really portray a character, man. That's how you build a protagonist. And that's it, man. I mean, so our official rankings go like this. In our bottom spot, we got Tom Holland. In our right in the middle, a second spot, runner up, we got Andrew Garfield. And at the tip top, man, we got Tobey Maguire. So that's our official GBV ranking of the live action Spider-Man actors. And if you got your opinions, man, please get in that comment section and let us know how you feel. Tell us who your favorite is. Tell us what your favorite movie is, and then we'd love to hear about it. We'd love to interact with you in the comment section. Thank you guys for tuning in, subscribing, for sharing, liking, commenting. We always appreciate it. Hit the notification bell and get notified about when we have new videos being posted. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And as always, man, thank you so much for your continued support. We always appreciate it. Stay safe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.
You are my friend. あの日の夢今でもまだ忘れてないでしょ You are my dream 始まってばっか君らは long as well